Hello, everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about macroeconomics and start to take a look at GDP. One of the most important questions that a lot of students ask when starting this class is what exactly is the difference in macro and microeconomics? Well, microeconomics is going to be more of those very specified and drilled down problems. So this is looking at the behavior of people, firms, and industries. A lot of our lives are spent at the micro level trying to decide how to spend what we make in order to live life to the fullest extent possible. All across the country, individuals like yourself are asking these same questions and making the same calculations. Likewise, firms across the country are deciding what to produce, how to produce it, and where to make it, all with an eye toward profits. So, microeconomics as a whole studies these individual level decision making by households or firms. It studies performance in particular markets or industries and determination of price and quantity for a specific product. Macroeconomics is what we'll focus on. And in this type of economics, we look at the big picture. Instead of focusing on the success or failure of any one person or firm, we now focus on the overall or aggregate success or failure of an entire economy. And when you hear the word aggregate, it really just means average. So by entire economy, we might be talking about an entity as large as the economy of the United States, or something a little bit more modest like the economy of the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago. More specifically, macroeconomics concerns the income of people throughout the economy and whether incomes are rising or falling in general. It's primarily going to be concerned with aggregate or total output and overall prices. In addition, we'll study how the government can influence aggregate variables through monetary and fiscal policy. Some examples of questions that macroeconomists might try to answer are things like, why does the cost of living generally rise over time? When the economy is booming, why are there still people that are unemployed? What can cause a recession? Can the government prevent a recession from occurring or stop it from getting worse? Why does the US have such a large trade deficit? Or why are some countries poorer than others? An important aspect of economics is GDP, and economists measure economic activity to benchmark performance and better understand how the economy functions. On the surface, measuring economic performance appears relatively straightforward, but it's not necessarily the case. Gross domestic product, or GDP, is the primary indicator of a nation's output and income. It's going to be a measure of the total or gross amount of everything produced within a specific economy. We use this to analyze economic growth and compare across regions or nations. GDP as a proxy for well-being comes with many caveats. So as you read through the material in this chapter, be mindful that there is a tension between the desire to make economic measurements simple to understand and the true underlying quality of life that's not necessarily as easy to capture quantitatively. So getting into defining GDP. Gross domestic product is the market value of all final goods and services produced within a country during a specific period. That is, it's the sum of output from all economic activity. We use GDP as a barometer for the economy, but what exactly does that mean? Well, when GDP goes up, this implies that national output and income are both higher. And when GDP falls, this implies that the economy is producing less than before and total national income is falling. Output and income are essentially the same. Nations that produce a large amount of high-value output are relatively wealthy, and nations that don't produce much high-value output are relatively poor. The output you produce is sold, and you receive income from what you sell. Let's wrap up this first video with a practice what you know on gross domestic product. So gross domestic product, or GDP, also measures which of the following? The correct answer in this case is income. Remember that output is equal to GDP, that is also equal to income. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, I'll talk with you in the next one. Thank you.